Hi, it's Joel Hill again from cashfromhouses.com Real Estate Investors Training. Answering the third most common question that I get when talking with new investors. And that question is, isn't it easier to wholesale properties? Or people that tell me that, rather than rehabbing, I think I'm going to focus on wholesaling. And I guess the quick answer to that is, yes, in theory, it's easier to be a wholesaler. If you can find a deal and flip it to another investor without having to close on it, without having to do any fix-up or repairs, and you can still make a lot of money, then yeah, that is a cleaner solution. Okay. Now, part of the reality of things, and the reason that I've chosen to be a rehabber as opposed to a wholesaler, is number one, it opens up more opportunities for me. There are more deals that I can find that have rehab potential than do wholesale potential. Okay. The first one is the speed at finding deals. If I'm looking for something that I can actually close on, fix up, and then go sell it for more money, I can probably find a deal in a few hours shopping through either the MLS or networking with other investors, like I mentioned in a previous recording. If you are going to only be a wholesaler, meaning you need to buy things so cheap that you can sell it to somebody, another investor, for more money quickly without having to close on it, a lot of those things go out the window. You can forget about going through the MLS for the most part, unless you're just bird dogging deals for other investors. And a lot of the networking that you can do, again, if somebody's got a deal that they're going to do or that they have in hand, they're going to be marketing to other investors at a price that facilitates somebody to fix it up and make a profit. The likelihood of you being able to tie up that deal with a contract and then turn around and sell it to somebody else is pretty low, unless you've just got a huge buyer's list and the person that has the deal is fairly inexperienced and is not marketing the deal very well. So what that means is, in order to be a wholesaler, you really do have to generate most of your own deals, okay? And so what that means is you're probably going to have some advertising costs, whether that's actual dollars as far as doing ads or putting out signs, etc., or advertising costs as far as your personal time. You're going to spend a lot more time on the front end out looking for deals and trying to find the deals that so you're going to spend your time on the front end rather than executing and closing your deals. Number two, you are going to need to build a buyer's list, because the secret to wholesaling is you have to have other investors in your buyer's list that will buy these deals from you in a quick and timely manner. Okay. Then third, you're going to need to buy what I call a quote-unquote a double discount. And that means you're buying cheap enough that you can buy it at a double discount so you can sell it at a discount to another investor. And again, now, rather than having to look for, say a 30% margin that you can do a rehab project at, now you need to find things at 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar to make sure that you can sell them to other investors quickly, or the deal falls apart and you don't make any money. You have to have the ability to stall the sales process. A lot of times you can get really good deals by offering cash, being willing to close within a week or 2 weeks. If you need 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month to close a deal because you have to have time to market and advertise and show the property to a handful of investor buyers to make sure that you find somebody that has a deal, you might not be able to make as competitive or as an attractive an offer as somebody like me could, who's offering to step in, hey, we can close tomorrow if title's ready. And you'd be amazed at the discounts that you can pull and the negotiating power that gives you to be able to sit across the table from somebody and say, yes, you want to sell this house? I can close in 5 days. I'm paying cash, I'm paying all the closing costs, etc. And even if you were going to offer more money, I'm probably going to win, because if you find somebody that's in a bind and willing to sell their property at a steep discount, you're going to need to be able to move pretty quick. Okay. And then thirdly, right now the market is tightening up, and one of the biggest changes between the real estate market from an investor perspective over the last few years and the current market is going to be the fact that the market is tightening up, both legally and from a type of deals perspective. From a legal perspective, when you talk to title companies, the states and the attorneys and everybody's getting a little wary about doing double closings. That's where you come in and you buy the house and then turn around and sell it later that day and the person that's buying doesn't bring any money. Some title companies have told me that even when they do double closings, the buyer still has to bring in money, which means you as the buyer are still going to have to come up with some money, even if it's only for a few hours. And competition. In years past, the neighborhoods and the areas that have really sold well from a wholesale perspective have been some of the lower end neighborhoods. And you can intuitively understand that, because obviously if you need to buy houses at 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar, going into the lower end neighborhoods, people are more likely to respond to bandit signs. You're more likely to find sellers that either are less sophisticated, they don't know what their properties are worth, or they just flat out don't have any other options because they don't have the money to do these fix-up and repair jobs. Now, keep in mind that these lower-end areas have been the most affected by the recent credit changes and the adjustments in the real estate market. So a lot of times these areas that were wholesaling very well, there's fewer and fewer buyers that want to rehab and own properties in these areas because there's no retail buyers for them. So when they fix them up, they really can't sell them as easily as they used to be able to. So, again, now the people that are still buying houses in these areas, now the rehabbers are wanting to buy them at 50 cents, 60 cents on the dollar, and they're not willing to pay as much as they did in years past for wholesale deals. So again, keeping in mind that if you're a wholesaler and you need to find these deals that have super quote-unquote double discounts, you're going to need to stay in these lower end areas, and they're going to be harder to wholesale because there's fewer buyers. It's a lot harder to find the better areas where the homes are still moving really quickly and finding sellers that are willing to sell for 50 cents, 60 cents on the dollar, because most of the time they have at least a reasonably good idea about what their homes are worth. Okay. To put a statistic to that, I recently heard that right now more than 50% of wholesale deals that get advertised and marketed to other investors are going unpurchased, which means more than 50% of the people that go out there and they find a wholesale deal and they think, great, I'm going to make some money on this deal, put it out and advertise it, and they can't find a buyer for it. So in my personal opinion, I would rather structure my business so that I can capitalize on the leads that I get and all the deals that I do, and I can close on them myself, and I'm not having to cross my fingers and hope and pray that I find another investor that's willing to do the deal with me. So, because I don't like spinning my wheels on deals that don't happen and don't get done. So, that's my take on what it means to be a wholesaler and the advantages of being a rehabber, being able to total package turnkey a deal from finding the lead to getting to that payday, which is at the end of the day, that's what it's all about in real estate investing. It's getting to that closing where you're going to make some money, and I don't like spinning my wheels. But there are some things that you have to be aware of, and there is a procedure and a method for doing rehab projects, and that's what we're going to talk about in our 3-day training event, cashfromhouses.com.